Obviously, recently, Facebook Marketplace dropshipping has been a huge opportunity, right? But I recommend that you don't just solely rely on Facebook Marketplace alone. Instead, you should also be moving your dropshipping business to other platforms to bring more eyes on your listings, right? Diversify the platforms that you're on so you're not solely relying on one. In this case, it's probably Facebook Marketplace for you, right? As well as bring more, profit and sales into your business. Because I've seen that sometimes I'll list one thing on Facebook Marketplace and then I'll go list it very, very quickly using the software like I'm going to show you today on another platform, and some of my best sellers on Facebook Marketplace don't sell on other platforms and vice versa, right? I have a couple of examples of things that sell well on other platforms that never get any views or any sales obviously on Facebook Marketplace, right? So what I'm saying is, in this video, I want to show you how you can use a software to quickly cross-post to other marketplaces using your dropshipping listings that takes you maybe 30 seconds to a minute to do if you do it, if you're focused and you actually do it per listing on other platforms. And then you can obviously get more eyes on your listings, get more sales and more profit into your business. And most importantly, diversify the platforms that you're on so you're not solely relying on Facebook Marketplace or any one platform, okay? So with that being said, give it a thumbs up if you appreciate what you see in this video today. And let's hop into my computer and I'll show you the tutorial.
All right, so here we are on Marketplace, right? And one of the benefits of using software is that you can post super quickly to wherever it is that you want, right? For example, if you're taking listings from Amazon or from Walmart or from Home Depot or from Target or from wherever, right? You can obviously post them really quickly to Facebook Marketplace using a software like ZDrop, okay? Now, you can also post those same listings if you wanted to using ZDrop a lot of the time to places like Etsy, places like Poshmark, places like Mercari, etc. Okay, and so one of the benefits of skipping that process, because I know a lot of people that I talk to that do sell on multiple different marketplaces, they do it all at once, right? But that's going to slow your VA down, number one. And honestly, I think it's a lot slower of a process to use ZDrop to post those listings to all of those places, right? So take a listing from Amazon, for example. So let me just pull a random one up. It always goes to this one, so I'm just going to use this one as an example. So as you see it pop up right here, once ZDrop integrates, you'll see copy to Facebook, copy to Etsy, copy to Poshmark, copy to Mercari, okay? And so what you could have your VA or yourself do is you could copy to every single one of these places, but that is a slow process in my experience. It's a lot faster to just bulk have them copy to Facebook with a number of listings and then use this software right here to then post to, Poshmark, post to Etsy if it's a handmade product, post to Mercari. Now, this tool right here is List Perfectly. I've talked about this in a number of other videos, but I will, try to post a tutorial of how to use List Perfectly in many different ways down at the bottom of the description. I will also post an affiliate link with a discount code to List Perfectly if you decide that you want to go ahead and grab this, okay? I'm not sure what the discount is. I forget. It might be 20% off or something for the first month. Heavily worth it, especially if you're looking for other marketplaces to diversify your drop shipping listings so you can make more money, okay? I just started scaling up Poshmark, and it's been working decently. I wouldn't say well. I did scale up Mercari. It's been working pretty well. And for what you're paying for this software, I think it's $40 a month-ish. I really don't even remember. You're going to make those sales over and over and over again on this platform, so it's going to pay for itself. And then, by the way, those listings are going to sit there and continue to sell for you, so it's exponential sales as you add more listings, right? It's a numbers game on any of these platforms when you're doing drop shipping, okay? But when you're actually listing to those platforms using List Perfectly, or if you're just directly using it for ZDrop, you need to know the platform that you're selling on, right? What sells well on Etsy is not necessarily what sells well on Mercari, which is not necessarily what sells well on Poshmark, which is certainly not what sells well on Facebook Marketplace, okay? And so this is why I like this, because this software is perfect for kind of systematizing my dropshipping business, right? Because I can have somebody and literally create a short tutorial, have somebody list directly from a website to Facebook Marketplace using ZDrop, okay? And then again, I can set up a system where I create a short tutorial and have somebody specific list from my Facebook listings and then post them over to Poshmark or to Mercari or to Etsy, okay? And so it's easier to systematize it, and in my experience, it's a lot faster and works a lot better, okay? So what am I saying? What does all this talking, actually mean, okay? So let's hypothetically say that you wanted to list this right here to Mercari, okay? And like I said, you need to know what sells well on Mercari, you need to know what sells well on Poshmark, and obviously on Etsy, you can only sell vintage and handmade, so obviously that's all you can sell there, okay? So if any of these listings are vintage or handmade, then you could obviously cross-post it using List Perfectly to Etsy specifically and then click copy, right? Or if it's something you could sell on all of them, well, then you can select all of them and then cross-post it there. Now, in past videos, I have talked about other ones like Heroin or like Kitizen or like Depop or Grail, they're Tradesy. I don't really recommend those anymore. I did a long experiment kind of testing them out, and they're not worth it in my opinion, okay? The only one that's semi-worth it is Depop, and I still don't even think it's worth it. But you will get dropshipping sales on Mercari, you will get them on Poshmark, and you will on Etsy, although you have to be careful on Etsy, okay? On Mercari specifically, what sells well is pretty much anything, honestly. Electronics also tend to sell well. Cheaper kind of gadgets and presents kind of sell well in my experience. It's in a weird way like a baby eBay, okay? But you can pretty much list anything given the fact that you have an image at the end of your listing that is not stock, right? That's one of the things that they use to kind of differentiate themselves is like you can't use all stock images, which the majority of your listings on every other platform, will be if you're dropshipping, right? So an easy way to kind of get by that, I'll show you here in a second as we list this to Mercari with using List Perfectly, is to just get a review image, okay? So let's say I wanted to list this specifically or have my VA list this specifically to Mercari. Well, all I would do is I'd hit that little green button right there, choose Mercari and click copy. And it's going to copy the listing over just like it would with ZDrop, okay? Now, I know it took a while because I was explaining different nuances of this strategy and how to actually use this software, but you can do this super quickly as soon as this pops up. There we go. The pictures popped up, the description and the title popped up. It even adds tags in there sometimes. Maybe it didn't. Oh, it did add the tags, excuse me. And you can just kind of go through and do these really quickly. And it's going to just copy them over just like ZDrop would super quickly. So now that we have two example listings, copied from Facebook Marketplace over to Mercari, all that you really need to do now is really just make sure that, your title reads well, your description reads half decent, you have tags in there that fit. You don't really need to change any of this, especially if that's one of the benefits of using ZDrop, after the fact, or excuse me, using List Perfectly after you use ZDrop, because all your information, all your tags, all your titles, all your description, all your pictures are going to be copied over exactly like your Facebook Marketplace listings would be, right? And so that's going to copy every single thing over just like your Facebook Marketplace listings would be. And you really don't need to change much because it's pretty much going to be the same listing. That's what List Perfectly does, okay? So just categorize it. So for example, this would be like tools and equipment maybe. Pick the right category, select the brand. Obviously, the majority of your listings are going to be new. I don't really ever worry about putting the color in here. Now, here's where you want to kind of focus on like I'll pay, and you want to go ship on your own. Okay. And the reason being is you're going to need to input the tracking number when you're doing this here specifically, right? And then raise your price so that what you earn, because the platform fees on these other platforms are going to be more than they are on Facebook Marketplace. You just need to make sure that what you set the price at on these platforms is a little bit higher to account for the higher fee, right? So that you're still profitable, right? And the only other thing before you actually go ahead and do this, I forgot to mention, you might want to turn off smart pricing as well, especially if you're drop shipping, is to go to this listing on Amazon. Obviously, you can search for it in ZDrop and find it, and then add a review image at the end so that all your images are not specifically stock images, okay? And that's basically how you do it. It's the same thing over and over and over again. You can do this yourself to add, a different platform to drop ship on. Or you can also create a quick tutorial that's about 5 to 10 minutes, hire a VA and have them do it as well. That will add more sales to your business over time, obviously, add more listings and more potential eyes using other marketplaces. And on top of it, it's going to add, more revenue and bottom line profit to your business as you get more sales and you diversify the platforms that you're on, right? So you're not just only reliant on Facebook Marketplace with your drop shipping. I also recommend looking into Amazon. I also recommend looking into Poshmark. Obviously, you have Mercari out there, and there's a number of other ones that I've talked about before on this channel, okay? Now, for example, let's go over and assume that we'd want to list these to Poshmark. Well, Poshmark has, you need to know this about Poshmark specifically as well. Poshmark has, size limits that Mercari does not, or that eBay does not, obviously. And you can cross post these to eBay if you wanted to as well. But that's not something I talk about because I am suspended from eBay. So I don't list on eBay. So it's not something I really ever teach or talk about. But obviously you can, do your homework, look into that yourself. But for example, on Poshmark, we already went over like the Mercari one, like where you need the review image at the end. On Poshmark, you can't list anything that's like big and bulky because it's against their terms of service, number one, to list something that's oversized. And on top of that, you're going to need to ship this, in their opinion, using priority mail. So if you list something like this that's bigger, it's going to be a major red flag that, clearly you're drop shipping this because you're not going to be able to fit this into priority mail box, right? So you need to pick things that sell well on Poshmark. You also need to pick things that are a little bit smaller that you can obviously, or make them think that you're obviously putting them into priority mail packages. And those do get semi-decently big, and you can list something that's slightly bigger, but just be a little bit careful with size things that you're listing, right? You also need to, what sells well on Poshmark typically are clothing, but there's also the home category. So a lot of home decor sells well, so you can list them as well, which a lot of, your Facebook Marketplace listings will probably be some home decor in there. Pet supplies also sell well. That's another category. Kids' toys sell well. That's also another category. So it's not just, clothing on Poshmark that you can list. There's a number of other things, okay? So let's say that we wanted to list this as clothing. It is not, but just for an example, because these are, the latest listings that my VA listed. Let's say that this was clothing. We just wanted to list it on Poshmark, like as clothing or as, a home category or something like that, right? So what I would do is I'd use that button again. I'd copy it over to Poshmark using List Perfectly. It's going to post all the pictures in there for me. It's going to post the title. It's going to post the description. And it also should usually post the tags in there as well, or at least 3 of them, because you're only limited to 3 tags on Mercari and Poshmark currently, okay? And also Poshmark does have plans to expand into other categories coming soon. If you click down on the category, you see that it used to just be men and women's clothing, right? But they added kids with a number of other subcategories. They added home first. That was the first one that they added with a number of categories. And they also added pets. So they are slowly adding categories and building out their platform. It is not just clothing anymore, although primarily that is what still sells the best, okay? So we could categorize this as like men's, like accessories. We could categorize this as like home, which probably would work a little bit better. So like home, maybe, home storage and organization, or home other. It doesn't really matter. Just pick a good category. So like we'll say like closet accessories. It's not, we'll just go home, none, or storage and organization, none. This doesn't really matter that much. I always go multi-item, standard one size. If for whatever reason you're categorizing it as like kids' toys or like something else, when you go to click, the sizing right here, it might say like baby or, men's or women's. So be careful that you don't click one size in men's or women's. That's a little caveat. I have gotten returns from that before, from people saying like, this isn't one size women's, and then Poshmark sides with them because you categorized it wrong. So if that's the case, and if you see one size like baby here, do not categorize it as one size baby. Instead, go to custom, type in one size. You can see I have it here, and then just click save with one size custom, and then you should be pretty good, right? Mark this up to whatever you want to do. I wouldn't go too crazy, maybe like 15. And then you can always come back after your listing's published and up the quantity just like you could on Facebook Marketplace if you run out of quantity or you're selling that item very, very quickly, okay? Now, it's new, so we're going to say, yes, it has items, the tags attached. We're going to add it to our boutique. If it's a branded item, you can put the brand in there. I really don't worry about the colors. If the tags aren't in there from, copied over, although they should be, you can just manually insert some tags there. Now, same thing on Poshmark. Poshmark has the highest fees of all of these. So you just want to, I always go 0 in the original price. I think that looks best on the listing because it says like 0 instead of like marking it up high and then marking it down. Some people kind of use that technique of like marking the original price up higher and then the listing price lower to simulate urgency or simulate a sale. I think it's kind of, what's the word, like juvenile. I don't think it works that well, like up to what people think it does. And I think it looks just sleek and better when you say original price 0 and then you mark your listing price up. It's like, hey, no, this is the price. It's never been discounted. Buy it like this, right? And it also simulates urgency when you go ahead and make offers or other people make offers to you on these websites like this. I think it looks a little bit better, right? So the listing price, again, if your original price was 19 because it copied that over at 19. Where was that? Yeah. Oh, 18, excuse me. So the original price was 18. Well, what you want to do is you just want to mark this up so that your earnings are clearly, still kind of pricing you into profit and, not going down, because the as you kind of get up more, like if this was like 65 that you copied over, I don't know why I want to, but I hate that so much. 65. As you get higher, the listing, I believe the fees on Poshmark are 20%. So as you get higher priced, it's going to take a big ding out of your earnings. So you need to mark it up if you're selling higher priced things. Doesn't mean you can't. I can. I rarely sell anything over like $100 drop shipping wise on Poshmark. Just a little caveat. You can kind of get close to that, but typically you're going to see like 65, 75 and under sells a lot better. People don't usually spend that much, and it's just one of those things that kind of I've seen anecdotally works better. Okay, and now there's also, with Poshmark specifically, there's two ways to drop ship using Poshmark. You can either directly send the item to the buyer, just like you would drop ship on Facebook Marketplace or any other platform, and then also send the label with a thank you note, which is something that I do. Or you can directly order it to yourself first, package it up using the Poshmark label and the Poshmark priority mailboxes, and then ship it to the customer like that. Although that does kind of put the onus on you to actually package it up once you receive it. It adds an extra little step in there that can be annoying to some people. Also, it delays your shipping a little bit, but I've talked about this in other videos as well. So I'll drop the Poshmark dropshipping video directly at the end of this description below if you want to watch, how to specifically dropship using Poshmark. Okay, so that's really how I use List Perfectly to post to a number of websites. Again, I'm not doing this. I'm having my VA do this as well. So one of my VAs actually posts everything from a website directly to Facebook Marketplace, just like this. Like you see these listings here. They just did this yesterday. Then what happens is I have another VA that comes in and just strictly uses List Perfectly, makes a judgment call. Is this a good product for Mercari? Is this a good product for Etsy? Is this a good product for Poshmark? If it is, they come in, they select those specific ones, and then they copy them over, whichever ones that it is. Okay. Now, I would say be careful with Etsy. Be very careful with Etsy. Specifically, you can only list handmade and vintage. I would say with Mercari, don't overdo it with Mercari. Maybe 10 max a day on Mercari. And so like if you have a VA, it doesn't cost you very much hourly or listing wise, depending on how you're paying them, to use List Perfectly to cross post to other platforms, because hourly, you can do all that within like an hour or two, and then you might only be paying them $10 total or like $8 total if you're paying them like $3 an hour or $4 an hour or whatever you've negotiated with them, right? So it can be very cheap to cross post like 10 to Mercari, a couple to Etsy, and then like 15 to 20 every single day to Poshmark, okay? And you can grow your store, you can grow your dropshipping listings and diversify onto other platforms and build out your sales and your profit and, kind of diversify where you're at and what sells well for you, right? So this is just something that I'm doing. It's been working well for me recently. I highly recommend that you at least look into doing it. You don't have to hire a VA like I am right now. Try it out yourself. Grab List Perfectly in the description below. You can get a discount. Try it out, right? If it doesn't work for you, then don't move forward with it. I have a feeling that it will work for you. I have a feeling that, you'll start selling certain things well on those other platforms that might not even be selling on Facebook Marketplace. And then you're getting more profit, more sales. You're diversifying where you're actually selling these things, so you're not solely relying on Facebook alone, and you can start scaling your business that way, right? So I hope this really, really helps. Just like anything, this is not something that I'm just like making up saying you could do it. This is something that I'm doing myself in my business and works very, very well for me. Okay, so try it out. Hope it helps, and I'll see you in the next one.